These drug enforcement officers poured the drugs into the pool to dissolve them, but underneath the drainage system, someone had been collecting the drugs again. These people used specialized equipment to repurify the substances and then sold them back on the market. With this unique method, Teddy made a fortune. However, one of his envious subordinates secretly stole the key to the vault. While fleeing, he was accidentally killed in the hit and run by Jack. Upon hearing this, Jack returned to the deceased man's residence to search for the key, only to be caught red-handed by his colleague. His colleague had already traced the license plate of the car from that night and discovered it belonged to Jack. He didn't believe Jack would kill someone for money. In the middle of their conversation, Teddy called, ordering Jack to immediately step out of the car and walk toward the roadside. The next moment, years of partnership came to a sudden end. Jack's colleague was killed right before his eyes. Furious, Jack decided he would no longer do business with Teddy. Instead, he went to the police armory and replaced the 5 blanks in his gun with real bullets. Before leaving, he noticed a remote-controlled bomb on the table. He remembered a previous training exercise where he had seen firsthand the bomb's devastating power. An idea struck him. The next morning, Jack drove to the location Teddy had specified. Just after he placed the corpse down, his gun was confiscated. Teddy used a detector and found metal on the body. He assumed it was the vault key, then turned around and drove off. Little did he know that the bomb attached to the body was set to explode in 2 minutes. As Jack was feeling satisfied, Teddy suddenly reversed his car and came back. This startled Jack, but he tried to stay calm, glancing at his watch. Luckily, Teddy only wanted to shake hands with him before driving off again. But the car didn't make it far before it exploded and plunged into the lake. Jack immediately raised his gun and watched the surface of the water intently. Only when the car was completely submerged did Jack finally feel a sense of relief. Yet, he didn't want to run anymore. He wanted to be a good person, so he decided to turn himself in. But the police chief thought the case would be too damaging if it were exposed. It would tarnish the entire law enforcement community's reputation. Jack avoided prison time, but he lost his job as a police officer. He went to his mother's grave to express his gratitude, thanking her for protecting him and helping him avoid catastrophe. Just then, his daughter found something interesting and handed it to Jack. It was the fake eye of the man Jack had killed in the accident. Through a crack in it, Jack discovered it was actually a chip that unlocked the vault. Jack was overjoyed. Not long after, he tracked down the vault's location. Armed with the key, he went there alone. He pretended to be experienced and managed to fool the warehouse manager. When he placed the chip on the reader, the key inside the code box was released. The moment Jack opened the vault, he was utterly stunned. He realized the bag he brought was far too small. There was so much money. He didn't know if he could ever spend it all in this lifetime. But what would Jack do with such a massive sum of money? In a world corrupted by wealth and power, human nature is often driven by desire and greed. How many can truly uphold their moral integrity when tempted by such immense riches?